He's the host.
I'm the host.
How?
No, yeah, no.
But let me also make you.
Yeah, this weather. Yeah. Aye, man.
Check if you can record, Lou.
Yeah, you made me host. Thank you.
Yeah.
There you go.
3 heaters on in this place is still cold. Shit.
Alfie, recorded, bro.
Angithi uDochi Marawi waza ngapha. Yabandela ngapha.
Ya bandera.
Yabandela wena badanda. All right, fellas.
Yeah.
Can we begin?
Yes,
Yeah.
please. Yes.
What happened to Pimo?
No, he's there. Oh, wait.
He two-feeted himself again.
I think connection issues.
Yeah, I think so too, because he keeps moving around. But fellas, thanks for...
I'm here. I'm in and out because I'm going to go to 4 Ways with Fro now. But I'll be definitely back and if this conversation's not happening. But we did speak yesterday, but continue. Sorry, Lou.
Oh yeah, the shop, and you think by the time you come back, like, we will still be here.
Boy.
But Mfanagit, you've got problems with goals.
I'll be at your house before you get back.
Exactly.
After
All right, no, fellas. I think you got the breakdown of what this discussion is all about. So basically what got me thinking about this is, during my own the ethics risk assessment, I keep on bumping into the same thing of management, of people saying, especially when I'm doing one-on-one interviews, you get a lot of people saying, no, management, they cleanse us here, they don't hold us correctly here. They do 1, 2, 3. This is why we can't do things because these guys got us under their thumb, and you think about it, you're like, this is not just in particular industries. This happens everywhere. And more often than not, you find that bullies tend to actually climb very high up the ladder, and they tend to sit in very powerful positions. And people know these guys, what they do, but somehow they just seem to get away with this type of thing. So I just want to get your sense, gents. What is your experience with corporate bullying, and have you experienced it? How does it make you feel? Just go for it. It's not a really structured thing here. We're just chatting about it under G.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe I'll kick it off and ask, like, why do you gents think this happens a lot in corporate?
Well, I could start. I think the reason why bullying happens is, well, not the only reason. I think one of the reasons would be fear, basically. Because we usually see there's obviously an age gap between the bully and the bullied, and I think some of the bullying stems from basically fear. You've got a person who's younger, who's more efficient, who thinks differently, who's more open-minded, and this person, as soon as they come, they are kind of, it may appear to the bully that they're coming there to take their job. And when that happens, you're going to do everything in your power to limit that person from changing your source of income, changing your life in a hectic way. That's why I think a lot of workplace bullying happens, is because you view people as a threat. And I hate to say this, I haven't had many experiences of workplace bullying, finger foods, but I've seen a lot. And the one that I tend to see, which makes me angriest, is the when there's a limited amount of black people within a team, within a function at a company, and the highest ranking black person tends to look down on the other black people, and it's aggravating, but I see it happen a lot. And I think it's because, when they see black people coming up, they think they're stepping into their role, they're here to take their job, which is not true. Most of us are just there to work, but I think that's the perception that workplace bullies tend to have, and that's where some of the bullying stems from.
Agreed. And I find that quite peculiar, Vele. You know, you're thinking, okay, my executive is a black guy. You know, probably mentor me. Kanti next. That's where your life of hell will begin.
Mm.
This is a guy who'll question you at every turn. Why? What's this? This is rubbish. You know, without even looking at your work. What nonsense have you brought to my table? And this is the same guy who'll probably embarrass you in front of other white folk. Very publicly.
And it leads to frustration in yourself. Like you said, especially for young black people, getting into a space where majority of the workforce is white. And that's a reality in South Africa that we just have to accept. It's a reality. When you step into a workforce where the majority of the people are white, you will tend to gravitate towards the black people to be like, guys, how do I make it here? How do I progress? And then that's when they see you as a threat, and they're like, you know what, this guy, I'm going to limit his career in any way I can through workplace bullying.
Yeah. Because you are also vying for his position.
In his mind.
In his mind, not necessarily like.
In his mind.
Also in his actions as well. Because we're not Canada, you spend twice as hard and you be like, come on, nigga, let's go get this. And niggas like, hey, but I'm just here to do the bare minimum and get my salary at the end of the month. But I also want a promotion type thing. I need to, look like I'm doing something. So it also varies. And I think categorically we need to also define it in terms of as a Daki space and as an Ngamla space, because obviously we can't speak from an Ngamla space, but we have been around them long enough to step into their shoes, so to speak.
Sure.
Now speak from a FMCG corporate background where it's managers like Mpo was saying now, where you think, okay, no, here's a Daki manager that I can relate to type thing. But you have to jump through so many hoops. And like you literally have to be a hobo and eat all this shit. But it's not in a bad way, where I'm not saying you shouldn't work hard. Of course you have to work hard to do it. But then it becomes like, actually now you're undermining my intelligence with what you're asking me to do. Because this is shit that you're trying to do. So now you're passing off your admin onto me. And if I don't do it, then you're going to be like, oh, this guy, I'm not going to give you those review ratings that I wanted. Or those review ratings that you wanted as my subordinate type thing. The other workplace bullying that I've experienced, yes, as fuck, dude. It put me... I literally had to go for counseling for it. It was insane, where my manager was manipulated by her manager, as in terms of, and like, what is this guy doing? How come he can do his work and have a side hustle? What is he up to? And like, this guy is siphoning either money from the company, he's not doing his job, whatever it is, to a point where they wanted to do a whole disciplinary hearing. They took me through a disciplinary hearing and they came up short. Where even the adjudicator was like, listen, you can actually take this up further for financial gain. I was like, I don't care, to be honest. My job is mint crisp. And what I'm doing is my passion. So just because other people, they play golf, I mean, our MD, he owns horses. He's at Durban July. Nobody asks him anything. So now I go out there and I'm doing media work. And all of a sudden now, like, my work is not affected. I'm actually excelling. Now all of a sudden it's an issue. How does that work? Where I had another situation with a colleague, where a colleague and I were really tight and whatnot, and the manager was dating that colleague at the time. And he now started making my life a living hell. We're in the same department. Like, we need to obviously liaise and whatnot. And he started having, catching feelings and started making my life a hell for almost 2 years, dude. As in monitoring, they got HR involved. HR is like, but there's nothing wrong here. What are you guys trying to argue? Well, look, if you really want a case, they had to go and make a document that has never existed in the corporate structure to monitor me and what I'm doing. and they said to me, this probation period is for 3 months. After 2 weeks, they lost interest in it. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what is all this about? You know, in the grand scheme of things. So it goes to, I think a lot of, as what we're covering is darky against darky. One, when it comes to corporate white and, you know, versus black, that bullying, it's at a round table, where you're vying for something and there's no room for you, but you're the best one for the position. So it's like, but now, you know, this guy Skim Sam Gamla and he's pushing for it. So that's just, you know, part of the whole Black Lives Movement, whatever the case is, even from, you know, females, so many black powerful females in the company, but the company is a BEE level 4 rating. Why aren't you 1? No, we can't rearrange the corporate structure from international. What do you mean? So then promote this person into international. Marangamla, she pulls off one massive presentation, promotion. She's in the UK at head office. So that in itself is probably one of the biggest problems that you'll find.
Yeah, you've seen that.
Also bear in mind that you will also face forces from outside coming in. I think maybe you always experience you'll get a manager coming into the organization or the corporate structure sits in place, and you'll have they want to stamp their mark and make themselves be known. Kind of like I'm taking over, there's going to be a lot of changes out here. You do this, you do that, you do that. I kind of experienced that myself too, because I had we had our HOP come in from the Western Cape, and already you can see the mentality of somebody from the Western Cape coming to Joburg as a white man. It's they think they run shit. You get what I'm saying? Just put it in a nutshell. So prior to that, he was liaising with the Eastern Cape branch. So there was a gentleman, one of the guys who used to work with us. He was siphoning money from the organization for his own personal use. He got fired for that, right? So there was a big disciplinary hearing. The guy was fake falsifying documents, saying kids are going on hikes and he's jacking cash. I mean, the guy took about like 30K at one stage, you know. So it all caught up with him eventually. But during that time that this was happening, he was kind of hunting. He was like on a witch hunt. You get what I'm saying? So it was more like he moved from Western Cape to Joburg and to our offices, and he's on this witch hunt. So obviously he's gonna find the nearest person to go shit with. So prior to that, they'd given us a documentation saying, look, if you've got any side hustles, if you've got this, you got that, declare it, put it on paper, we'll file it for you. You get me? Prior to me working at the organization, I didn't make it a secret that I have got a side hustle. I didn't make it a secret. I said I do. And I was asked how I'm going to manage it. I told them how I'm going to manage it. I do it in my spare time. You understand? So, and then after that, he came to me, just going forward. He came and approached me with those documents. And he says to me, like it's new, I heard that you've got a brand. I'm like, yes, I do. And he's like, how long has it been around? You know the declaration. I said, did you check the paperwork before talking to me? What you're holding right there's got my signature declaring that I've got a business on the side and I'm making extra money. You know what he says to me? Not apology, nothing. He's like, you knew about this. Do not claim ignorance. I'm like, ignorance of what, dude? You're coming to me with a signature that is basically saying that I'm acknowledging, and you're telling me that I'm not acknowledging. What do you want? So that kind of conversation went to CEO. I kind of put grievance, you know, when you put grievances, all this nonsense, you know. So it comes back down to, and not knowing him, he's also got his own business. I mean, he's got a acting studio. So for actors, for people who want to do arts and culture, you get what I'm saying? And he's making money off it. He teaches young people how to act, or do any type of entertainment. So I was like, what's the difference between me and you? So I kind of, you know, when you experience that from outside in, when somebody comes in and tries to stamp their mark within the workplace just to make themselves known, it does result to bullying, because everybody looks forward to, I'm looking forward to Patrick coming in as my general manager. Next thing, Patrick's bullying everybody here. Like, that's not what we expected, you know? So that's the type of bullying you also experience, not only when you come in, but also from outside in too. You see. I'm done.
Pimo, officially welcome. And Marco, I see you also in there, but oh, he logged out again. Welcome, Pimo. I hope you've sort of caught on to the gist of the conversation so far.
I have, yeah. So, in a nutshell, like, I mean, obviously there's different types of work-based bullying. So, I mean, you can obviously have the classic, you know, like you have the actual bullying at school, you know, where like it's you're a small guy, you're a loser, whatever. Like the guys who've been employed in the business for quite a bit, like that I get, and like, you know, you see it quite often. But there's a very, like, I mean, I heard Dooms are talking about it earlier. There's a very fine line between, especially between like people of color and people of color. So, for instance, I always make this example to people at the office. So that you have what's this? You have bosses who lead for you to be better and aren't really intimidated by you excelling and becoming even their boss or moving up. You know what I'm saying? You get those guys who are like, they are okay with you developing, especially as young men, young females, whatever. They're okay with you developing. But too much in corporates of South Africa, you have too many people who are very comfortable, who are, you know, bosses by the virtue of the fact that they had been at the company for 20 odd years, whatever. So that person would be your line manager. And that's where he's been there for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And he basically almost blocks your moves higher. So what I'm saying is, like, you look at, let's put it, say for instance, my line manager, the head of trading at Standard Bank. So he is now seeing, okay, cool, Patrick is actually quite talented. He can excel in a managerial role. And I would like to get a managerial role. But he's like, okay, yeah, okay, he's good. Let me help him excel and catapult him to another position. But then you have, whereas our guys are like, no, Patrick can't be better than me. Why is he being better than me? Why must he then become more skillful? Even though the age difference is a hell of a lot. Like, say, take for instance, like Bomposo, like, how old are you now? 25, 26, right? 20, yeah. So now you sit there, you have guys who are 54 now, Chogomezing a Bompo, like not allowing Paul to grow in business. And that kind of, for me, that kind of bullying is the one that kind of gets away with, because it gets seen as, okay, no, but the leadership and the manager knows better. But that's the one that is probably the one that hampers corporations the most across South Africa. I mean, like I see it a lot at the bank now, like, especially now that I've moved to Constantia, where I'm in contact daily with the guys in operations. And then you'll have, like, there's some super bright guys there. I mean, guys with actuarial science degrees, but the guy is a data capturing officer. The guy, and you can see this guy wants to excel, but his manager is Tani Mariki, who's been there for however long, or Tarob, who's been there who's been at the bank for 25 years. And as soon as this guy tries to move, they press it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the one type of bullying that I think gets a pass. And the reason why I bring it up is that because you'll never see, like, there's very seldom you'll see white folk doing that. Whereas, like, right. I mean, how often or not do you see, like, guys will come in at 25 after studying and come through the grad program or the CA program. Like 3 months later, that guy is now a manager, and he's now in a position. They've moved him out of where you are. He's moving into a position, but he is developing, and he's been allowed to develop at a rate much faster than we allow ourselves or our kind to develop. Like, I get the spot.
But I've got a question. Can I ask a question?
Sure, go for it.
does it, with what Patrick said, you said that it generally doesn't happen with white folk, sure, but don't you feel that it happens on black, white on black? White on white is not. If it is white on white, it's not seen. You get what I'm saying? So
The white on black part in major corporation doesn't happen anymore, because that could cause a lot of ruckus for that white person because it's easier for me to go to HR and be like, hey, Simon Jones here is not allowing me to move, it's not allowing me to grow. And then if HR kicks back, I can cause a big stink through diversity and inclusion or transformation, whatever. I can cause a massive stink. But when it's black on black, they'll be like, marriage, why is it your people?
Talk to each other.
You know, when Pat is busy going on now, especially when it comes into females in the workplace, I know Fro, they have a big thing with the boys club, where, you know, no matter how brilliant the idea and the plan is, especially being in the media space and things like that, working for an international heavyweight brand, that boys club remains a boys club. There's no, you know, females in that boys club at the top. You know, which in itself is for them, it's like, okay, as Legita, I'm gonna play devil's advocate as well. As Legita's like, all right, cool, no, you know, we're trying to stake our claim, but at the same time, the people who are actually making shit happen in the business are the women in your business, because they're the ones who probably watch more TV than you guys do. They know what trends better than what guys do, because they shop a lot and those sort of things. Now, I'm not obviously trying to, you know, bracket that situation and put my foot into, you know, a whole other hole. But the gist is, you know, for her, the biggest thing is, you know, yeah, the boys club, it has no structure, has no management. The ideas and ideology of how or what works in the business, the buck stops with them. And then they miss out on massive opportunities. Like, let's take the lockdown, for instance. She had Shimza come through and be on some, hey guys, listen, this is what I'm thinking, etc., etc. And they were like, this is actually brilliant. We can actually do it like this, and then, yeah, they went and they said, listen, to the heads, and they were like, listen, chief, these guys are coming in here, this is how they want to do it. He turns around and is like, all right, cool, who's going to pay for it? It was like, well, dude, we have a whole sponsorship team that can find the money. It was like, no. They must do it for free. It was like, hold on, wait. This is a guy going into lockdown. Are you not doing your shit for free, are you? This is a guy going into lockdown and he's saying, listen, I'm a DJ and I have this concept and I have my fellow DJs who are willing to back me up and do whatever. Long story short, Channel O got the gig, which became that Lockdown Fridays. Banging the hell out of ratings. And then all of a sudden the guys are like, why didn't we think of that? I was like, what? Are you mad? We had the head sponsor. We came, we told you about it. The head sponsor is our client. It's not his client. When we rejected him, he went there to our competitor, said, listen, this is the idea they have. The competitor turned around to the head sponsor and is like, listen, just support the DJs. Don't sponsor their show. And they were like, gladly, we will do that. Why? Because obviously now either we write it off, whatever the case is, but, you know, it's going to give us clout. And we can all, you know, attest to the fact of how the Lockdown Fridays popped off. And even in my own damn house, I was like, hey, babes, good thing we have 2 TVs. The one upstairs that we're not watching can play you guys. The one downstairs where we're partying is going to play this. This is dope type thing. And it hurt because now you're busy, you know, dabbling within the enemy lines. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, he couldn't see the vision. You guys could, and he couldn't acknowledge it because of, you know, his position and just him not wanting to understand, or, you know, his way or the highway type thing. So, you know, there's also that it's huge, especially for ladies. I've seen it even within the FSAG where I was sitting at. where super, super, super intelligent. I'll take Noxie for instance. Super intelligent. What is she? About 3-4 levels away from literally sitting at senior managerial position. And Nivea came and snapped her away. And she had just been promoted, like literally 6 months before that, or just under 6 months. And Nivea came and said, whatever you're getting, we will give you X amount of increase. We will give you this. What else do you want? And she named it, and they were like, cool, we'll give it to you. And then she came back to our company, and she was like, guys, I'm out. And they were like, what do you mean? We just promoted you. I was like, yeah, you promoted me just out of, instead of giving me the position that I've been vying for. These guys are giving me the position they're vying for. What do they offer? So she gave them the offer. They came back, they matched it and topped it up. She's like, that's not the point. The point is somebody else had to find value in me in order for you to find value in me when I've been here for you guys this whole time. You took me out of varsity, you put me in the company, I worked my ass off, did what I had to do, another company comes and snatches me, and all of a sudden you find value in me.
Well, you find that, yeah.
If I stay here, one, I know your tricks, I know your nonsense. Two, now all of a sudden I'm going to have a black mark because now I need to perform because you guys counter offer. It doesn't make sense. Let me vie.
Same reason why I left.
You know what I mean? So it's like, how now all of a sudden you value me as I'm sitting here. So there's especially from the ladies' part, which you know, obviously we can speak via, you know, our partners and what we've heard from family members, friends, cousins, sisters, whatever the case. I think for them, workplace bullying is it's another story. But also there's that old female on female, hey, in Kenga, which I wouldn't go
Man,
into.
that is
I think
Yeah,
that is
it's so toxic.
some of the worst bullying I've actually seen.
Yeah.
Is
It's female on female.
Yeah.
Dude,
Whether you
in
go to corporate, whether you're working in a small setting, it doesn't matter. It's everywhere.
in my old division, my senior manager would bring work to me to give to them because they're not talking.
Imagine.
And then within that team, those three are also not talking, so they talk to each other through me. And I'm like, guys, what is this?
So now
you sit right next to each other. I had the most obscure office. I was far away from everyone, but they took the time to leave their desk, walk all the way across the hall to where I was sit to ask me to give the work to this other person, including the manager. She'd be like, Wanoli. And you're like, Wanolo Fenyano. Who's Wanoli? Why can't you call people by names?
I think a lot of that, a lot of the, funny enough, a lot of the female on female bullying, right? And this is purely anecdotal. I think it actually starts with us. And like Tumza was mentioning, the boys club, and we see it when we have basically black on black bullying. Is if there's a female accepted into the boys club, or if there is a black person accepted into the culture of a predominantly white company, then they feel they'll get greater acceptance by oppressing people now that they're not oppressed. It's something like, okay, sweet, now that I've got the whip, or I'm part of the people that hold the whip, I can start oppressing.
Yeah.
When you were
juice.
previously oppressed, now that you're in this position, you should be the one actually saying, look guys, I struggled to get here because of X, Y, and Z, which needs to stop. Like, I think where I work, there are a high amount of females, and we promote work-life balance, especially because females have kids and stuff like that. But there's still an existence of a boys' club, and you hear comments sometimes like a mother will be like, sorry guys, I'll be online from 8 o'clock in the evening. I have to pick up my kids from school. Then give them supper, and then I can be online. That is a shit ton of stuff to do and still work. And then you'll hear comments in the office, just like, Jesus, Smang always leaves at this time. We've got this deadline approaching. Guys, in all honesty, yes, we know that that company doesn't care about your kids, but you as a person's colleague should. And you should actually say, no, guys, Smang's got a lot on her plate. Let's try to see where we can assist as well, because we don't have kids. Even some fathers have kids, but they know that their wives are taking care of the kids, which is a problem. So I think we also have to address what that's problem, to actually say, like, look, guys, we need to address the boys club basically.
No, why? Well, it's not my problem. It's not my job. That's the attitude you get.
But I think it goes back down. Oh, sorry, you first, man. You first. No,
I just wanted to say that that's the attitude about a lot of people, and it purely stems to just privilege. It's not my problem, so why must I deal with it? And
I think one of the emphasis, one of the things that we neglect to, or the office setting neglects to look at, is job wellness in a dynamic aspect or point of view. That's the right way to put it.
Fonzo,
hello?
Before you expand on that, the funny thing is they do see it. Né? They call it job wellness and don't do it. But when it comes to actually implementing and executing job wellness, there's all available behind. They'll do a whole big, massive ass pitch. Hey, Baba, you will now be called in half day in J. Hey, there's now Abu Ridi busy presenting job wellness. They get in the best therapists to come there. They've got the discovery team there taking your blood pressure, ting-tings, runs the whole day. That happens for the one day. Then when you actually do need it, my man, you have to go and give reason as to why.
Tick box exercise, man. Tick box exercise. You tick boxes. You send all they have to do is make sure that once a week they send that email to say, here the contact detail for your wellness center or iCAS or whatever.
iCAS. So everyone knows iCAS.
100%, dog. Like, and the worst thing is those emails they'll send it to you at like 7:55 p.m. So you know what's going to happen the next morning. We're going to log on, look at your emails, be like, rubbish. Okay, cool, important email, start working from here. Like, enjoy. Like, it's back to like the situation with female on female. It's like, is that it gets even worse in like in a banking institution and then like, I mean, I had this conversation. We had a DNI forum this past week. We had also a Teams chat. And the question I asked, I was like, you know what? I don't want to overstep my ground, but I have a feeling that Lorna as females are the ones holding females back, right? Like, I'm like, for one, we have a global markets team of, let's say, maybe 3,000 people. That's in, let's say, in SA and maybe in South and Central Africa, we have about 3,500 people. In SA, we have a team of probably about, I'll say maybe 1,000 plus minus. We only have 2 black execs. Actually, no, 3 black execs, and all 3 of them get the executive because they got given the executive job, and all they're looking after is one themselves. They don't care about anything. Same situation story you spoke about, people who they've been welcomed into that old boys club, and banking is all about the old boys club, right? Banking is the guys who went to Bishop, St. Andrews, the guys who went to St. John's, the Scythians. It's all that, like the little cliques throughout the bank. These ladies have made it into that. So we had a thing now where we lost a black male executive who moved to ABSA. And instead of these females on
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, these females on the DNI forum.
It's the compliance guy.
Yeah, instead of these females on the DNI forum fighting to get another a black female onto the executive role. They were all like, nah, whatever. No, so when I asked, I was like, guys, there's a lady in that team who's been doing this job who is flipping brilliant. And then you guys went and allowed the bank to put in an Indian lady in this position. But there was zero fight, nothing, zero. And then I even asked the chairman of the DNI, I'm like, and like, Brian Ruwe, what are you doing? What is your position? Is this just a thing where you have meetings, tick a box, and then move on? Right? Like,
Is the lady what is still there?
She's moved to CIB risk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the thing is, it's that we put ourselves under pressure because now, it's the classic. But why don't you speak up as a black male? I'm like, okay, sure, I've spoken up, right? But my voice can only go that far by itself. I'm like, have you ever tried to shout like you're shouting in a football field? If there's 50 of us shouting, yeah, now, Jamie Monat there. But if it's just me, shouting, just screaming, people are like, then that's when the reason of this topic happens. Because what happens then is that these people, okay, no, this guy is feisty. No, let's find ways to suppress it into workplace bullying. Guys will make your job so uncomfortable that they push you out of the position.
Doesn't it come back down to also remember we're also living in a country with a lot of people suffering from inferiority. It's not necessarily inferiority that you choose, but it's something that you've been conditioned to, even from school times. You look at me as a black male. All of us here are black males. Continue.
No,
yes.
Sorry.
We all black males here, and already you go. I mean, you see it everywhere you go. I mean, you go to a retail store. One time I saw at a retail store once. Anyway, I went to the retail store. Manager, white guy, shitting on this guy. It's like behind the office, but you can hear what's happening. It's not hard to see what's going on. And he's threatening him with, if you do that, I'm gonna fucking fire you. This. He went to the max with this guy. You know what I mean? And of course, you look at it and you notice. And I think that guy saw that I noticed what was going on, and I left. You get me? I left. I was like, if this guy thinks like this, clearly doesn't know how to treat people. So it also goes back down to he knows that whatever he did wrong was wrong, but it always comes back down to that beating down, like stepping on the neck theory. You get what I'm saying? If you do this, I'm gonna fire you. You're a black man living in South Africa. You've never been given or offered opportunities like he did to be a manager. If anything, he'll probably find that he's not even qualified to be a manager. But
can I tell you something? So And this is like a point that I've been trying to drive across, especially with guys our age, even like to guys like Bumpo's age, so Bokopano, Omakule, Bocheven, is that there is absolutely zero fucking reason why Rona, all of us here on this conversation, should have an inferiority complex, right? It's okay for our parents to have it because our parents grew through that. No matter all of us, we went to these AKA Model C schools, whatever, we all went to these schools. And like, and my biggest driver, I think my biggest trait is that I don't have an inferiority complex for Lokowa or a person, I respect a person older than me, but I don't have an inferiority complex when it comes to we're sitting like in front of each other in a conversation. Like, and I think if you find that, you think about every single racial argument or racial attack or racial fight that we have all been involved in, it's never been about the fact that this person is racist. This person is just trying to be like superior to us. And all we're saying, we're like, hey, homie, hold on, man. I'm here. Maybe this thing goes by, you get around with it by, like you say, shouting at your employees. Marana, Paula, chill. And I think, and I always try to say to Majita, there's a very fine line between standing up to who you are and then also being exactly the same as what you're receiving. So you'll find that, and that line is every time when you're hearing of guys wanting to revolt, or where guys like what Julia said are, when they try and incite all this stuff, is that you can be equal, you can fight for equality, you can fight like equity. You can fight for all that stuff. But as soon as you get beyond that, then you're just fighting for yourself to now be a monopoly, which is different to equity and equality. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's a very hard thing to get across to people, especially like I mean, you know, if for instance, like someone will find me standing in Bishop Rebu, and Bishop, you can't not see that he's Afrikaans, right? And it will be like at a point of discussion where you can see what inferiority. And I think it's also it's a mental thing that we obviously have, which I try so hard to get guys at Kuspaning, especially guys and they come from these small towns and like they come from try get these guys to understand you don't have to be like very outrageous to be equal, right? Like guys are smart enough. I mean, the fact that you're sitting in that boardroom means that you're good enough at your job.
Yeah.
And you're good enough at what you do. Bruh, like, and you know, when you point out to someone, when you walk into a boardroom and you point at someone, you say, you know, that this guy here, this executive here, has a degree. It doesn't have a degree, he's qualified by experience. So I'm like, I respect his experience, but I also don't respect him to come to me and try to tell me about an academic point. He can't put that across to me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You can tell me I've once done it like this, then I get that. But you can't tell me that it's written like this, so it must be like that. You can't tell me that. And that is the one type of bullying that often gets unnoticed, because as soon as people see, and the term radical, I don't want to use the term radical, because that term sometimes gets misunderstood, because sometimes
it's misunderstood, yes.
Sometimes you're required to be radical in order to be equal, right? But it gets misunderstood. But as soon as a person becomes radical, there are elements across the board, not even across the racial lines, but across the board that goes, okay, no, this guy needs to be put in his place. You know what I'm saying? Like the job environment that we in currently does not allow for extreme growth. I mean, take for instance, like a guy like Tumelo. For anyone who's known Tumelo, like us, anyone who's known him for as long as we've known him, like I've always known that he'll be the kind of guy who will struggle to work for someone who's not dynamic, or someone who doesn't understand that everything is a moving part. Like you all know, this guy, jack of all trades. So like, and now, if you don't understand that, and you don't understand how to lead like that, or even if you have to be, sometimes you have to be firm on people, sometimes you have to be allowed to be dynamic. And that's where some bullying comes across, where guys don't understand. So if guys don't understand you as a person, or understand what you're doing, or trying to suppress what you're doing, you get bullied.
Yeah.
Bebo, just to...
Yeah. No, it's actually funny. It's actually interesting Pat should say that. Sorry, Pizzi. Is our regional director was busy saying something Gospan, but he's talking from an office point of view. He's not on the streets. He doesn't understand how it works on the streets. And immediately I stood up and I was like, that is bullshit. Everybody's like, oh, you can't say that. I was like, fuck off. That is bullshit. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, no offense. You said that we have an open forum. So what are you saying is bullshit? Because out on the streets, this is how certain things work. And what you're saying does not make sense. Because, and then I laid it out, X, Y, Z, blah, blah. Then he turns out and like, okay, but then don't be angry. I was like, my friend, please don't get it confused. I'm not angry, I'm passionate. And if you cannot understand the difference between the two, then that's why I'm having this argument with you right now. Because I'm not angry, I'm passionate. And it's because I wake up in the morning and I come here. I don't come here for the sake of coming here. I don't need to be here. I come here because I love being here and I love what I do. So please do not get my anger, do not get my passion confused with me being angry. Because if I am angry, this whole place would not be standing right now. Hey, what do you mean? Is that a threat? I was like, you see, you've missed the point again.
Yeah, just to also add on both your guys' points. It's Dumza, you talking about you are passionate about what you do, and Pat, you talking about people not necessarily knowing you. And the thing is, when a person, and this is I think this is what led to me taking my 3 months off, because I've always like my personality. Like my dad taught me from a very young age, Chief, if you don't think something's right, in terms of maths, science, whatever, if you don't think something's right, ask a question, challenge the thinking. Let's see if you can come up with something different. Come up with a compromise of some sort. And that's how I've always been in the workplace. And I've had managers that like that, managers that like me being proactive to actually say, no, bro, I don't think this is right. This is why I don't think it's right. What are your viewpoints? Challenging, coming up with the best answer, best solution. But then when you've got someone who's in a high ranking in the hierarchy of your office, and they come up against a young person who's different to the people they've ever dealt with, like those people that no one's ever told them that they're wrong, and then out comes someone that actually says, nah, this is wrong. I remember there was this one transaction that I literally argued with the senior manager for about three months straight. Had an argument on this transaction, and not because I felt I was right. I discussed it with other people, and when I brought my point forward, it made a lot of sense, and there was just constant friction between me and this person, even outside of that transaction, because of me being outspoken and actually saying, no, I don't think you're wrong in that. And I also think on my part as well, I felt like I also have to I can't let this person walk over me in any facet of the job I do. And that started causing friction, and it never got resolved. And when this friction never gets resolved, it starts leading to like with Tumza, where you had to go get counseling because these guys were always fighting with you. And it gets to the point where you can't take it anymore. There's only certain amounts that you can take. And I think what the older generation, and even the people in the same generation, but they're just higher in the hierarchy of your organizational structure, they need to realize that it's okay to be wrong. It's okay for someone with less experience to find a mistake in something that you've done. We learn from those mistakes and we move forward. But when you're so used to being right, and that one time you're wrong, and it's the person that proved that you're wrong is not your favorite, that's when it's going to cause a whole hullabaloo. It's going to be a shit show. And even like in these situations where this manager left, but like the people in my team would be like, yo, that was intense. I was like, guys, I wasn't being intense. That's just my personality. And then they're like, no, but we've never seen manager A like that, because she was basically screaming. And I was like, look, I'm not here to cause tension. I'm just here to get the job done. And then from then on, every interaction we had was just intense. It was head bashing and this. And even when the team was like, bro, she's wrong, you're right. Eventually, I think when I started to break down was when I started actually just saying, you know what, you're right. I'm not even going to argue anymore. This is using too much of my energy. And when you feel like that, that is a problem, because the rest of your life, basically.
Your work is it starts with your work, then your emotional side, your psyche, your mentality, and just your behavioral. Waking up in the morning is like, where the fuck am I going, honestly? What is the point of me going there?
I'm going there to go have a fight. That's basically what you...
That's basically what it is.
But it's not even... The worst part is waking up and going there for a fight. You know you should be winning, but you've been bought. So you have to lose it. It's fixed.
Sometimes you just like, look, when you start compromising who you are just to get this bully off your back, that is a problem. And I think that's why we see a lot of people that when you say, yes, it's this person in varsity was absolutely unreal. The first few years they were here was absolutely unreal. They've stagnated, and they're fine with that now. They've lost that motivation, and that's why I think, especially in professional services, there's such a high turnover rate of staff, because there's just constant conflict, and people are actually changing who they are for the job, where the job should not be changing who you are, but accepting who you are and adapting the culture to make it conducive for you to flourish. Because if you flourish, the company flourishes.
Yeah.
Mm.
I get it.
Does
That's
it
what
make
Richard,
sense to say?
that's what Richard Branson said. He said,
Sorry to cut in. Doesn't it make sense that if you look at maybe professional services or whatever you call, whatever professional occupations and stuff like that, compared to 30 years back or 40 years back compared to now, is that you've got a lot of, it makes sense as to what you've just said, is a lot of people are changing jobs. I mean, so one time some chick told me, like, I got a new job a month ago. I was like, okay, congratulations. Okay, well, I'm not looking to stay there too long. I'm looking to leave. I'm like, okay. So she's like, I'm applying for a job. And I'm like, are you serious? You just got a new job. Now you want to apply for a new job. Whereas back in the day, it was different, where you get, oh, Mang Mang has been working at the company for 15 years, 20 years. You know what I mean? They've been not necessarily stagnating. I wouldn't say stagnating, but I think it's just more like a progressional thing. You know what I mean? It's a progressional thing. They've been in the company on a progressional basis. You see what I'm saying? So don't you think that would be the cause? Is that a lot of people, which results to people being unproductive? A company becomes unproductive like that.
It's that lost motivation. It's that lost motivation. You think, okay, I tried at the first company. It didn't work out. Some people go to the next company and you say, you know what? Clean slate. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna progress in my career. I'm gonna do A, B, C. Then some people are just like, you know what? New job. I don't care. Let me just get my salary. Because the same thing is probably gonna happen. Because you get
because also, sorry, Sempisi, sorry, continue.
No, I just want to say, like, you sense the culture, and then you're already taken aback. You've been there for 2 days, and you don't know. And like, sometimes people like to say this in professional services because they want to keep people there. They say, oh, sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side. You're like,
when I left Armscor, this guy says to me, yeah, 2 months hey Pramish Kupaspani.
wow.
And I'm going to tell you, go ready it. That was his words to me. But Pisi, going back to your point, Hade Tumza.
I was saying, you know where this words come from?
Ing.
What he said to you, to be like, in 2 months you'll call me back. That comes from a person who has no vision about where they're going.
Sure.
Armscor is the all and the end all. That's why he would say something like that. He'd be like, oh, you think you're better than we are. Don't worry, you come calling back.
Yeah. No, it's his own little kingdom there, you know? So I mean, I was in an environment where I ran, basically everybody left. It was just me.
Right.
So I ran a division 1 man. That's number one. So then they put an executive who doesn't know fuck all about risk or ethics, but he comes from a legal background, and he basically says, this is how we're going to work. And you tell him, no, dude, this is the methodology we follow when we're doing risk management. We're doing ISO 31000, blah, blah, blah. And homie made everything look like a legal document. And you're like, this is not a risk register. This looks like a contract. And guy was just like, no, it's great vessel. And then the risk register went from blatantly highlighting issues to sort of pleasing other departments and divisional managers. And then there was a new rule, or if I went to go see an executive, I had to be accompanied by a senior manager, couldn't go by myself. Other executives used to ask that question. They were like, why is that rule? So now eventually it was time to leave. He says to me, no, Uskavaya, let me make a plan. So he claims he's made a submission to make me manager, blah, blah, blah. What happens, December? I get told through the grapevine, this guy's gone and hired a senior manager who's bloody 5 years younger than me, who I had to teach the job. So I was like, yeah, you know what, for real, peace out.
No, he did it. He did it to piss you off.
Yeah, I
You
know
know-
to be spiteful.
What is
Yeah.
what is that saying? Cut off your nose to spite your face.
Despite your face, yeah. Cut your
Yeah.
nose despite your face.
Yeah, basically that.
Doesn't it go back? Doesn't it go back down to? Doesn't it go back down to like we look at everybody in executive positions, and if the top one doesn't it also isn't it the top person in the position a determinant of the ethos of what the company is? I understand Richard Branson has his philosophy, which you just typed, and which is it's factual. If you look after your employees, they look after your clients, big time. You know, but it also comes back down to the not only the business ethic, but also a personality ethic of your leader. You get what I'm saying?
So Fanzo, let me tell you, this is something they'll tell you at a business school.
Yeah.
When you walk into a meeting and you're gonna do a pitch to Exco, find out from security who's the big boss in there. It's not the CEO. Okay. So if you're gonna go make a pitch to an IT company, you want to impress the chief information officer, not the CEO necessarily.
He knows nothing about computers.
No. And then the CFO is always going to give you a hard time nonetheless, because they need to show that they're looking after the numbers.
The CIO secretary.
Yes. Start there because they run shit.
She will tell you when you can come pitch, when he's in a good mood, when he's in a bad mood, it's his wife's birthday. Yeah. The last thing you want to do is walk in there and he forgot his wife's birthday night before. The company secretary. Then you
get no coochie. Didn't get no coochie. He's pissed.
Right? Yeah. You know, she knows everything. I love PAs. I am me and
PAs, cleaners, and security. That's your three people. But going back to what you're saying, the leader. So in a company like Virgin or Facebook, the founders are still the leaders of that company. So what they say goes. They're the big toe there. But take a company like Standard Bank. Okay. CEO may just be a figurehead. We all know Prasim is there. Okay, he's just the face. But we all know Okobus and Ben Kruger, what they say goes.
Yeah.
So you'll find the sim being overruled for everything. Okay. You take your abscess, Maria Ramos, they knew she's got political power behind her. So whatever she said went. But then we don't know how this new guy is faring.
True.
You know?
True.
RNP, Sizwe Ngasana, for instance, at RNP, you know, he was given leeway. Everyone knew he was the leader. Then he went to NASFAS and he saw Flames there as a chairperson and he realized he's not running shit. And he left. They launched billions under his nose live.
Jesus.
Remember the scandal, the girl who got money and she spent it?
Yeah, that goes.
Yeah. So the total amount lost every year at NASFAS for those types of schemes is R1 billion. So this is a running syndicate. And there was nothing Sfiso could do about it. This is a guy who's known for building companies. I mean, he did a sterling job with Telkom. He did the same at RMB. And there was NASFAS, just couldn't win.
Damn.
I used to get told so many times at
Look at this guy.
You know who you look like?
Powder.
Do you remember when Balotelli was going through his stuff at Liverpool?
Oh, did he say powder?
Remember when Balotelli was going through at Liverpool?
Yeah.
After the why always me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that thing going.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Uncle Umbi. Good to see you.
This is the worst.
I thought you looked like a skinhead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gotta do.
That's what I have to deal with. This is what I'm dealing with currently.
Are you a taxpayer?
How did that man get through the gates, bro?
I'm asking the same thing.
Yeah, why did security let him in?
He came with Bishop, so that's why. That is why.
King La Belenam.
Yeah.
They want to some chatting.
No wonder why Patrick was panicking last 3 minutes. I'm like, Patrick, why isn't he sitting down?
No. Bona umbutse ne fela ka le bottle la vati le voroso my brother.
Whoa. Ne ke kopa o emenyana. This is not a Tswana establishment. Ka
Abe.
Sepedi ke le boroso.
Stop recording this meeting.
Pause recording.
I think we summated everything we need to say. You can stop recording.
Yeah, no.
Even in busy biting his lip. Ish, I'm not extending this fucking shit now.
He's like, my pele.
Time I'm at Zepa.
I just wanted to add on what Fonzo said about I think the leader element depends on how
Thanks, man.
how involved the leader actually is in the grand scheme of things. Like, so the way where our work works is that there's the partner that's in charge of the division, the whole division from start to finish, and then there's basically, you call them like junior partners, for example, that are in charge of specific teams and stuff like that. And within this, the head of the department, absolutely sensational guy. I chat to him all the time. He knows everyone in the division by name. I remember he even asked me a question. He asked me something like, did Dr. Dre say that? I was shocked when he asked me, did Dr. Dre say that? Because he's an older guy. And he's blacker, funny, and he likes to get to know how the company's working from people. But because he's the head of the division, he can't see everything. He can't see everything.
Yeah, no, of course
And
not, yeah.
then he gets obviously like the junior partners in inverted commas, and they're in charge of like their teams. And the team I'm in, thankfully, our two partners are sensational. They just they know different people in different teams bring different elements, and they work around that nicely. They know which jobs people should work on. They know who should work together. They run that team like it's a Ferrari. Our team's efficient. We have check-ins every week during the lockdown, and it's not for work purposes. Just for, hey, how's everyone doing? I know there was an email thread where the two partners were bantering with each other. I couldn't believe it because I thought I was in trouble because I saw on my notifications all this stuff. Bish saw on my
Meneer Visser.
all these like messages from partners. I thought, Jesus, did I burn the building down or something? And these guys were just having a chat, giving everyone a laugh. But then you go to other teams where the junior partners are serious, no talkers, and like they're just all about work. And you can see there's a lot of tension in that team. And then tension builds unrest, and then that can facilitate workplace bullying. So
And
I do think
Peasy,
that
without even asking,
a lot.
sorry, I realized Cops has probably got a tyrant of a junior partner. Looking just at his WhatsApp statuses.
Oh yeah, no, I think on this one client that Corps is on, yeah, he doesn't like, because I think it's more the manager, because and I tell Corps a lot of the time. I say to him, Chief, just tell this manager that it's not gonna work. There's sometimes where you have to do that.
You have to be honest.
With them doing their stuff, just tell them like it's not gonna work. Like when we were down in Durban, I mean, when I'd work on Saturdays, right, I'd literally be at my laptop for 2 hours max, and then I'm done for the day. And Corps is still having calls and doing this and emailing people and downloading, and I'm just like, Chip, it's a Saturday. Sometimes you actually have to, you must push back. And the thing is, that starts at the top a lot of the time, because the partner is screaming at the manager, and the manager, if they don't actually back up their team, then all hell will break loose, because they just start pointing fingers. And So
Oh, do you know what? You make a very valid point there about the pushback. Because I mean, the thing is, in corporate, you're going to have different types of personalities, right? There's going to be those people who fucking just send a factillion tons of emails between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. And then the problem, if that's your kind of boss you have, or the kind of team leader you have,
Between
your
11
first-
and 3.
your first error, yeah, bro. Your first
Yes,
error
Dooms
is,
are very much so, Chief.
your first error is responding to those emails at those times. So even like on a Saturday, right? So I personally don't work on a Saturday. I'll look at an email. The first time I'll even respond to an email is probably Sunday afternoon, Jay. Just being like, hey, yeah, Sunday afternoon, I just logged in. I see this thing. I'll deal with it tomorrow. I'm not giving you an answer, but I'm giving you a holding mail. So don't even call me to be like, hey, Patrick, hey, I've given you this thing. Dog, it's a Saturday. Maybe you don't like spending time with your family or your friends or whatever you do, but now I do. And like, I learned this, like also chatting to one of the black execs at Standard Bank. The guy's like, he's like, you have to, if not superimpose yourself, but you have to have those boundaries. So people can say, he's like, dog, you can work 7 days a week for this bank. You can do that 100%. It's easy because there's always work to be done. But you then have to kind of be like, wait a second, yeah, I must take a break because, nah, dog, I can't be here on a Saturday midday. Like now I'm midday Saturday, my boys are sitting outside Brian, I keep busy computing. Nah, can't have that.
That's not life, bro.
That's not life, bro. And the thing is, and you know what the problem is? Like Mpisi said, it starts up top. If your manager can't handle his boss, that means that there's a timeline issue here. So someone got the job, got the business before, and then took a week to pass it down, and then took a week to pass it down. Because the only time you'll have deadline pressure is if the oak at the top doesn't understand the job that has to be done.
And
then goes,
Pat, you bring it back to another question I wanted to ask the bigger group, where you find another tactic used in bullying. The whole day, this person says nothing. Thank you, Mr. Vish. The guy says nothing the whole day. And then at 4:30,
that thing.
Mukhale, just quickly do this thing for me. Can you have it for me by 8 o'clock tomorrow? And then you look at it, you're like, I need 3 days for this thing. Never mind by tomorrow.
Bro, my best thing is the COB email. When the guy sent it to you at 3 p.m. and then he's got the balls to tell you that you must finish it by COB. I'm like, I'm like, dog, if you get this thing today, it's because I'm feeling grateful. I'm feeling.
I got a question. What exactly time frame we're looking at? Your COB? Maybe your COB is different from mine.
Are you saying close of business Monday, Tuesday? What are you
know
saying?
what I mean?
Right, in corporate, and PZ will attest to this, bro. Guys will send you an email, like Loya Nalulama will send you an email saying, can you, as soon as the guy says, can you quickly, you know full well, this is like a 3-day job. There's no quickly.
There's no quickly.
Find yourself now, and the worst thing is, these guys, and I had a long conversation with my bosses, and I'm like, guys, you guys have been away from the I'll say the grindstone or the engine room for so long that you forget how long this takes. I can't just do this. Like for Nat to be able to like pull through let's say an M&A transaction, we have to deal FX. There's credit, legal, compliance. 3 of the biggest fucking ball eggs in the world, but they have to be done. I can't just willy-nilly just go and do stuff at your rate. I mean, we've been doing something now for a client where even the client is like, the client started to rush, and I was like, Warbis, we don't have credit, legal, or compliance. Can't be doing anything. If your account's not being KYC'd, who am I to supersede what the bank? Then I'm going to do this thing. Next thing, get like a bag, unemployed during COVID. Never.
You know. Guys, can I excuse myself from the session? I just need to step out and drop off some items, please.
Sure. Go drop off Apex.
Thank you.
Hey, before you go, do you have any more of those balaclavas?
Shucks, there were 2 here I sold. I'll check with Steph he's got.
You see,
how much are the balaclavas?
You sold?
Yes.
Look,
I need a balaclava.
You need a balaclava. Okay, this one.
Even me, I want them.
Okay.
Yeah, I want
Alright.
the
No, I
Valentine.
can make it. No, I can arrange for you guys like quick fast. Like I promise, I will.
Bruh, I need 4.
4.
I like the disclaimer.
Okay, cool. I will do that. Let me
Malin.
check what's at his place. I think he's on his way because he was at a photo shoot earlier. So I think maybe.
What is he
after-
shooting?
Nishuta level training.
No man, there's
Yes,
another.
yes, I have to stop recording this thing. Ngoba nina nizongifaka ejele.
No, there's what you call it? There's this other brand called Hardcore Fitness. Nothing to do with us. So he's just doing photography.
Guys, I noticed. Sorry, excuse. But wow, noticed not everybody's subscribed.
Pretty cool. And she's pretty hot.
Okay, no. Then I'll dips. I'll dips.
Timo, you've said 2 very important things, so I think the fellas are sold.
Yeah.
Do you know which other one kills me? We've got Exco on Tuesday.
My
It's a
man.
Monday that. Just a quick high level, nothing hectic. High level, 2-pager.
I once asked the guy, I'm like, okay, so to do this high level, do you understand how many documents I have to read to be able
Yes.
to get this high level for you?
to condense them into that.
That's quick stuff. But it's quick stuff.
I don't want something hectic. 2-page. You
know
like, you know.
Got Tuesday.
No, go Pat.
Manye.
Got
Hey, bruh.
Tuesday.
Joe, but like you know what the thing is, and I mean back to the topic that you brought. Like, you know, when you asked this question the other day, or who asked the question, was it Mpo or someone? Someone said before when I about this thing. You know, is that like sometimes people just when you say workplace bullying, people just see it as that, you know, the quintessential like school bullying when guys I'm bigger than you, whatever, you're little runt, whatever. Like, but it's like so weird. Like, it's like things like this. Like, can you just do this for me a little bit? Like, and like it just happens progressively, and the ask gets bigger and bigger. And like then you have a situation where someone's almost then taking what's his credit for your work. So no, just send it back to me. So you do all this work, send it back to him, and then he puts it with like his name obviously attached to the whole document and everything like that. And I mean, I remember like chatting to some people, whatever, and guys were like, oh, but you know, and I even said to my bosses, I was like, guys, it's very simple to see who does what. People have different writing styles, different ways. Some people use a lot of some people use a lot of ands, but you need to understand when you're getting this from the bosses, from the middle management, from the senior management, whose stuff you're getting, because you can't just be like now getting things willy-nilly and being like, oh, no, man, this thing is what is, oh, well done, yeah, cool, lekker, yeah. Yeah. Then you have the appraisals at the end of the year. Yeah, you know, the bank is going through a tough time at the moment. And also, like, you know, you didn't really meet all your matrix. And we expected you to give us certain amounts of documents. And I'm like, what? Don't tell me that you expect me to give me documents. Dog, I've been doing my work every day.
That's true. The other funny one, it's weird you say that. There's a document this guy drafted, and they said, no, he wrote this. And I'm like, no, he didn't. And they're like, no, it came from his secretary. He drafted this. I'm like, I'll tell you, confidently didn't. They're like, how do you know? I'm like, there's not a single furthermore in this document.
And this guy says that 1 million furthermore in his own document.
Yes, I'm like, there's no furthermore in this document. There's no way this guy wrote this document.
Waka.
I'm telling
Hey,
you.
bruh.
I'll tell you furthermore everywhere. So I knew Ryan Wala again because there was no furthermore in that document. But you know how people write. You're like, this guy doesn't write like this. There was another executive. I knew there's always spelling mistakes and then the grammar upside down. And when it came really pristine, I'm like, no ways this guy wrote this thing. No ways. It's just that
we got it the first year.
yeah, because this guy, the reason why his documents would pass is because people are scared of him. So no one would correct his documents. So he had a lot of documents sitting there that are badly written, but they're there. They are passed. They are stamped. All good. So whenever they're like, he wrote it, I'm like, no, he did not.
No, we got it the first year.
That guy left first year, now what do you honestly the masters?
No, quick fast. Maybe I born now.
Yeah, I'm almost finished. Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, let's. Yeah, and I think we can wrap it. I think I've got a lot of
Stop,
that.
Mrs.
No, thanks, but Apimo.
We're going to drink.
Voila.
Yeah?
Hey, stop recording, man.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah, let me actually stop recording.